I like to think I'm a reasonable guy. I mean, after all, I've been answering a ton of questions in the comments about some of the technical going-ons behind the scenes. I've had back-and-forth discussions on various aspects within the game, from player preference loadouts to playstyle, or, from one scrub's point of view, a lack thereof. We've talked about performances, preferences, we went over wish lists, KD ratios, toxic players, and even covered the numbers. The primary focus was about having fun. Yeah, I'd like to think I'm reasonable. Open to discussion, willing to have a proper sit-down and talk shop. One of the things I haven't really done, though, is touch upon my own limits in this game. Like, I do admit sometimes I have tunnel vision when it comes to what I've touched and not touched in this game. Such as not flying in vehicles yet, because that just boils down to having been a terrible pilot in previous titles within the franchise and just not motivated to see if confirmation in Battlefield 6 is necessary. Or avoiding stationary platforms because I consider it an easy target. Or Team Deathmatch because, well, it's Team Deathmatch. It's been mentioned to me a few times from a few players commenting on the videos about a certain mode that they so fully enjoy that I haven't touched yet, simply based off said limits. So, I decided to jump into that section of the deep end of the swimming pool and give it a go. Okay, so before Battlefield 6 came out, I had a very typical schedule. Full-time employment, multiple kids of various ages and grade levels to deal with, tons of errands to run on the weekends. I didn't have a lot of time to play video games, but when I did, I was usually jumping on to play whatever game or mode my friends were playing at the time. During the Battlefield days, it was usually Conquest or Rush for the majority of that time. One of the modes I didn't get into was Hardcore. Wasn't a mode my friends spoke of, nor dipped into. I mean, I knew it was there. I wasn't completely ignorant of the mode. We'll take Battlefield 4 as an example. Battlefield 4 Hardcore was a very popular mode. It was more tactical and unforgiving compared to normal modes. 60% player health, no mini-map, 3D spotting was disabled, friendly fire was turned on, a limited HUD, if at all, and it forced the player to rely on visual and audio cues. It had a faster TTK. You had to play smarter, not harder. And not much has changed as far as the mode is concerned over the course of 18 years. Hardcore was introduced to the franchise in Bad Company, and it's been in every title since. And Hardcore was a standard mode in the franchise until Battlefield 2042, where EA moved it over to Portal. And this, shall we say, was not received well. At the time, 2042 was already showing to be a big disappointment due to its troubled launch, and then add Hardcore to Portal right out the gate? Now, while some players appreciated the idea that they could customize the experience of Hardcore in Portal, many players pointed out relying on community-driven experiences was, shall we say, inconsistent, with empty servers and a slew of technical issues. And let's not forget the varying progression issues. Yes, sir. What once was a staple of the franchise seemed to be shoved over into the corner as EA was more focused on other things. So when I decided to give Hardcore a go, literally for the first time in the history of ever, I was dismayed to not find it in the main menu. No, it's in Portal. Again. Okay, fine. Let's find a server. Now, I did immediately find one. It was showcased in the main menu. Okay, small favor. I opened it up and it listed all the progressions. Okay, cool. I could be down with this. So I went in. And I waited. Now, I had to wait a while, but I was hoping this was because I was playing Battlefield at like 9 o'clock in the morning on a weekday. It was set for 64 players, but only needed 20 to start the match. Okay, it shouldn't be too bad. I still had to wait about 10 minutes, but I eventually got in. Surprisingly, it wasn't as soul-crushing experience as I was thinking it could be. I was less distracted by the absence of the HUD, so I wasn't looking at it constantly. Now, I would need to research this bit a bit further. Like I said, this was my very first time, but it seemed that there really wasn't any hit reg issues going on. Sure, this could be because of a myriad of things, but it was nice to not have to deal with it at all when I played. Again, I will research this specific thing for another video. Please don't come at me with pitchforks and torches. It won't be pretty for you. Anyway, the session I played in wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. My only gripe, if I was to ever actually have one, was it lives in Portal. Now, you guys know by now that I am rooting for Portal something bad. I really want Portal to succeed. And once the XP issue is resolved fully, you'll most likely see a lot more videos from me here in Portal. I already have normal and hardcore maps in my own Portal profile. I just haven't promoted it because I'm waiting on the XP fix. If people wanted to play on the Portal profile while we wait for the XP fix, I'm down with that. You guys would just need to let me know. So I decided to dig into the whole hardcore mode and why it was thrown in Portal and no longer a standard staple in the game. Oh boy. Okay, now walk with me here. There's been a lot of players upset about the shift of hardcore going from a staple in the main menu into Portal, and I get it, I do. However, because of the live service model, hardcore is one of the casualties of the shift from premium service to the live service model. See, under the old premium model, players paid upfront for content. This gave developers that legal and financial obligation I've covered before to provide a full suite of experiences, like hardcore, because they were selling a complete premium package. And under the live service, the goal shifted from selling content to maintaining a healthy matchmaking pool. And here's how that shift specifically made hardcore a casualty. EA promoted this one community narrative. In live service, EA's marketing has always talked about keeping the community together, and the selling point was no more paid map packs. But they use that same logic to minimize niche modes like hardcore. Niche to them, not the players. Again, don't come at me with the pitchforks and torches. Anyway, EA argues that a permanent hardcore tab creates a bucket that drains players away from the main all-out warfare queues. This is the matchmaking health trap. Then there's the 64 to 128 player math. Now, the 128 player, that was specifically for 2042. With the move to massive 64 player counts in modern Battlefield, the fragmentation fear became an obsession with EA. To fill a single lobby, you need a massive pool of active players, right? DICE's reasoning was that if they give us a hardcore button, they might lose, 15% of the main pool, making the casual experience feel dead or filled with bots. Yes, in some cases that happens anyway. Stay focused, playa. I'm still walking here. And by relegating hardcore to Portal, DICE effectively washed their hands of the fragmentation problem, literally becoming Pontius Pilate. This gave them zero accountability. If a hardcore server in Portal is empty, they can blame the players for not seeding it. And by stripping full XP progression or ribbon earn rates from many Portal experiences to prevent those XP farms, they effectively punish the hardcore community for not playing the official casual modes. So basically, the live service model didn't unite the player base as EA intended or as the player base wanted. Remember, I did say be careful what you ask for, you might just get it. And it held the hardcore community as hostage. DICE traded the depth of the Battlefield staple experience for the speed of the matchmaking queue, turning a core pillar of the franchise into a community experience that they don't have to support. And that's been EA's biggest position since. They don't want to fragment the player base, and they are terrified of having 10 different official playlists. You know, normal conquest, then you have hardcore conquest, normal rush, hardcore rush, etc. Because they think it will make matchmaking times longer. I mean, don't just take my word for it. The most direct authority of this comes from the DICE dev notes. Their own core argument is that every official button you add to the main menu creates a new bucket that players fall into. All gameplay additions integrate all new content from day one to avoid fragmentation across platforms. Hardcore presets will be available via the community browser. Basically, this is saying that it's EA's goal to keep the community together. Every time they add a separate permanent playlist like Hardcore, they are effectively halving the matchmaking pool. They want players to have the hardcore experience, but they believe Portal is the right home for it so it doesn't fragment the player base and lead to higher matchmaking times in all-out warfare. I mean, seriously, since Battlefield 5, DICE has pivoted to a one community goal, one community model. It was argued both by EA and a shit ton of you players out there that the old $50 premium passes fragmented the player base between haves and have-nots. And now, that logic is used to deny hardcore players a permanent home, claiming that official playlists must remain broad to ensure 64-player lobbies fill instantly. DICE monitors player engagement data to decide which modes stay. Their point of view is usually that hardcore players are a vocal minority, and providing a permanent button would starve the main all-out warfare playlists of players, making the game feel dead to the casual audience. And by doing so, EA DICE argue that they are saving the game from fragmentation. The game sold 7 million copies in 3 days, people. You're telling me that there's not enough players to go around for all the modes? So I guess DICE basically uses Portal as a get-out-of-jail-free card. Their official stance is, we gave you the tools in Portal to make your own hardcore experiences, so we don't need to host it. The problem is, as you know, Portal has been a mess with the XP bug and the bot nerfs. When you play a custom hardcore server, you often get zero progression towards your unlocks or levels, which makes it feel like a wasted piece of time for the average player. Then there's the added insult to injury. Occasionally, they do put official hardcore mode on the main menu, but they make it a limited time event like the hardcore breakthrough rotation we saw in December during the winter event. Even that wasn't as great as a lot of player feedback stated. It felt like normal breakthrough and needed to be refined to feel like a true hardcore experience. Remember, this week is the first time I've touched hardcore. I was just reading this tidbit from forums and such. And then there's the technical side of the argument. DICE has hinted that the kinesthetic combat system, this is the 2026 movement destruction engine, wasn't tuned for 30 or 40% health reduction. I am assuming here that they don't want to deal with the balancing nightmare because explosives are so powerful in Battlefield 6, a true hardcore mode results in people getting wiped by a single stray grenade from across the map. Again, this is an assumption, not a fact I could confirm. This is probably my most critical take so far in covering Battlefield 6. Don't act surprised, I do this once in a while. I think I would like hardcore now that I found it, but I am disappointed in its current state. Hardcore has some gameplay balances. What I mean by this is, sure, the HUD is missing, it's literally one shot. Revives seem to be less available than normal mode. Friendly fire is on, spotting is off. But, it's great for the slower player, the casuals, if you will. You gotta be more tactical and strategic in your approach. It's great for friends to squad up and roll out with and not worry about where the rest of the team is at. And, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's great for that mix of casual and sweats. Now, hear me out before you raise your eyebrows. It's more equal footing when it comes to seeing things. Their HUD is missing too, so no lit up Christmas tree lights blinking and moving across their HUD. They have to slow down too. They can't just spider monkey around like they have been in normal maps. Now, it's not a 50-50 scenario, but it's way less sweaty so far from my experience that I would even suggest this idea. I played most of the day in Hardcore, and for my first full day ever in the mode, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Hell, I had to force myself to slow down. Crouching, crawling, ducking, flanking, all of it. If you haven't touched the mode yet, find it in Portal. I landed here for all the XP and I had a ton of fun. Hell, feel free to send me a friend request and I'll be happy to jump in with you. If we want Hardcore to be official and permanent, I guess the player base needs to start demanding it and not shutting up about it until it actually happens. It's the only way I can think of to get it done. At the current state of the game, I'm not sure we'll see it anytime soon. I mean, for starters, we would need to up those population numbers at the very least. That's not even a guarantee, but it's a start. Until then, it's Portal. Portal would have a good opportunity for it once they fix the XP bug, so there are options. I've stated this many times. I want Battlefield 6 to succeed. Out of all the franchises out there to play, Battlefield has always been my favorite. And now that I've discovered Hardcore, I'm more inclined than ever for it to succeed. I appreciate that you made it to the end of my Friday video. I am wrapping up the other two classes I wanted to cover, so keep your eyes peeled for those coming soon. I am working on some member-only content as an experiment behind the scenes. I'm working on a Tarkov video now that I finally own the game. I haven't promoted much of this channel because I'm more interested in the conversations than I am plugging things and coming across as a slimy used car salesman. It seems so disingenuous. Hey, thanks for watching. Now send me money. Yuck. But if you are interested in seeing a different game and a different approach on how I drop content for different games, you can check out the membership tab, but only if it's something you're interested in. If not, no biggie. Getting more members is just one of the many experiments I'm fooling around with. However, today's the last day for the current Veteran Spotlight for January, Homes for Our Troops. This is what I feel is more important than the membership thing. The link to January Spotlight is at the bottom of the video description. Please check it out. Thanks. And thanks for watching, everyone. Till the next one, out.